Are you melting in your own home, but absolutely cannot install a traditional window unit? Stick around, because we've found the ultimate cooling solutions that don't require sacrificing your view or dealing with heavy installations. Today, we are diving deep into the world of windowless air conditioners. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly which unit is worth your hard-earned money. And trust me, our number one pick completely blew my expectations out of the water. 10. MEPTY Swamp Cooler. This is a unit that heavily markets itself as a windowless air conditioner, but is fundamentally an evaporative cooler. When I first unboxed this unit, I was immediately struck by its lightweight design and incredibly small footprint. It is clearly designed for people who have absolutely zero floor space to spare and want something they can easily carry from the living room to the bedroom. The aesthetic is fairly basic, featuring a standard white plastic casing with a standard front grille that doesn't exactly scream premium build quality. To use this machine, you cannot simply plug it in and expect frosty air to fill your room. Because it operates on evaporative cooling technology, you have to constantly fill its water tank and utilize the included frozen ice packs to get any semblance of a cooling effect. During my testing, the process of filling the reservoir felt clunky, and I found myself constantly worrying about spilling water on my hardwood floors. You are essentially relying on the fan blowing over a wet medium to drop the localized temperature, which requires an active effort on your part before you can even sit down and relax. When I put the MEPTY to the test in a dry, enclosed room, the performance was completely underwhelming. It did drop the temperature by a few degrees directly in front of the fan, but the moment I moved away from the immediate breeze, the room felt exactly the same. 9. FLOWBREEZE Ventless. Straight out of the box, the FLOWBREEZE looks a bit more modern than the MEPTY, featuring a sleeker tower design that fits somewhat nicely into the corner of a contemporary living room. It comes equipped with oscillating louvers that are supposed to help distribute the air more evenly across your space. The digital display on the front is a nice touch, giving it the illusion of being a high-tech climate control device. Setting up the FLOWBREEZE involves a similar routine to other ventless coolers, requiring you to interact with a surprisingly small water reservoir located at the back of the unit. I appreciated that they included a remote control, which allowed me to adjust the settings without having to get up from my couch. The interface is relatively straightforward, offering a few different modes, including a natural wind setting that randomly changes the fan speed to simulate an outdoor breeze. It definitely feels like a slight upgrade in terms of user experience compared to entry-level swamp coolers. However, once the testing began, the true nature of the FLOWBREEZE became glaringly apparent. Even with the water tank filled to the brim and the maximum number of ice packs loaded into the tray, the air output was incredibly weak. The fan motor struggles to push air across anything larger than a tiny bedroom, meaning you have to place the unit practically on top of yourself to feel any genuine relief from the heat. I monitored the ambient temperature of the standard 10x10 room for 2 hours, and the overall drop was barely noticeable on the thermometer. EUHOMY 8000. Unlike the previous ventless models, the EUHOMY actually compresses refrigerant to actively pull heat and humidity out of the air. The design is robust and substantial, featuring a clean white exterior that rolls smoothly on heavy-duty casters. Unboxing this unit gave me an immediate sense of confidence, as it genuinely feels like a serious home appliance designed to tackle real summer heat waves. Using the EUHOMY is a completely different experience from the swamp coolers. While it does require you to exhaust the hot air, typically out of a sliding door, drop ceiling, or specialized wall vent if you are avoiding traditional windows, the setup is surprisingly intuitive. The included exhaust hose is flexible and durable, and the window kit can be easily adapted to various non-traditional openings. Once it is plugged in and vented, you just set your desired temperature on the digital thermostat and let the compressor do the heavy lifting. During my performance tests, the EUHOMY 8000 managed to bring a stiflingly hot room down to a comfortable temperature in roughly 45 minutes. The cold air it produces is crisp, dry, and immediately noticeable the second you turn the machine on. It features an incredibly strong blower that successfully circulates the chilled air across a medium-sized bedroom, eliminating the hot spots that fans typically leave behind. I was extremely pleased with how effectively it also dehumidified the space, making the room feel vastly more breathable. 7. BLACK+DECKER BPACT05SM. The moment I took this out of the packaging, I was impressed by how small and unobtrusive it is compared to the massive, bulky portable ACs that usually dominate the market. It is specifically engineered for smaller spaces, tight apartments, or cramped home offices where floor real estate is incredibly precious. The matte finish and rounded edges give it a very modern, subtle aesthetic that blends into the background of a room perfectly. Setting up this BLACK+DECKER model was an absolute breeze. The exhaust hose clicks securely into the back of the unit without requiring any excessive force, and the control panel on the top is beautifully simplified. It features a straightforward LED display with highly responsive tactile buttons. You can switch between cooling, fan-only, and dehumidifying modes with a single press. The included remote is equally simple, ensuring that anyone, regardless of their technical expertise, can operate this machine effectively right out of the box. When put to the test in a tiny home office, this little machine performed like an absolute champion. It pushes out shockingly cold air for its size, aggressively tackling the heat generated by multiple computer monitors and desktop towers. The airflow is highly directional, allowing you to point the chill exactly where you need it most while you work or sleep. I was highly impressed by how quickly it stabilized the room temperature, maintaining a cool, comfortable environment without constantly turning the compressor on and off in an annoying cycle. What makes the BLACK+DECKER stand out is its incredibly reasonable noise level. 6. Coolblus Portable. Aesthetically, the Coolblus takes a bold approach with a sleek, futuristic casing and a hidden LED display that only illuminates when the machine is actively powered on. It feels distinctly premium to the touch, utilizing high-quality plastics that do not warp or creak when you move the unit around. The roll-in casters are incredibly smooth, allowing it to glide across carpets and hardwood floors with zero effort. Operating the Coolblus is where it truly starts to shine as a smart, user-friendly appliance. It offers a brilliantly designed digital interface that provides real-time feedback on the ambient room temperature versus your target temperature. I love the fact that the remote control features a built-in thermostat sensor, meaning the unit cools the room based on the temperature directly around you rather than the temperature near the machine itself. This is an incredibly smart feature, typically reserved for units that cost twice as much, and it dramatically improved my overall comfort. In terms of raw performance, the Coolblus easily handled a medium-sized living area with high ceilings. The fan is impressively powerful, launching cold air all the way across the room and bouncing it off the walls for excellent circulation. I tested it during a particularly brutal afternoon where the sun was beating directly through my windows, and the Coolblus fought back fiercely, keeping the indoor environment perfectly stable and entirely sweat-free. The dedicated dehumidification mode was also an absolute powerhouse, pulling gallons of water out of the air over a single weekend. 5. WICOLO Portable. If you absolutely cannot vent a hose under any circumstances and are strictly limited to a true ventless design, this is exactly what you should be looking at. The WICOLO is built like a tank, featuring an incredibly massive water reservoir that practically eliminates the need for constant refilling. It looks like a high-end commercial fan, utilizing a rugged gray and black exterior that means serious business. The user experience with the WICOLO is vastly superior to the cheaper swamp coolers we discussed earlier. Because the tank is so incredibly large, you can fill it up with a garden hose or a large pitcher, toss in a dozen ice packs, and let it run for hours on end without a second thought. The top control panel is highly intuitive, featuring massive, clearly labeled buttons for its various oscillation modes and fan speeds. It also comes equipped with thick, high-density cooling pads inside, which absorb water much more efficiently and produce a significantly colder breeze. When I fired up the WICOLO in my garage, an incredibly hot, dry environment, I was genuinely shocked by the velocity of the air it produced. The fan motor is an absolute beast, pushing a thick, heavy wave of chilled air that actually provides legitimate relief from the heat. It has a massive air throw distance, easily reaching the opposite end of a 20-foot room. While it won't lower the ambient room temperature the way a compressor-based AC will, the wind chill effect it creates on your skin is incredibly powerful and refreshing. DREO AC318S. DREO is famous for their ultra-quiet, high-velocity tower fans, and they have successfully translated that exact technology into this cooling unit. The AC318S looks like a piece of high-end audio equipment, featuring a stunningly sleek, minimalist tower design with premium materials from top to bottom. It immediately elevates the look of any room it is placed in, shedding the ugly, appliance-like aesthetic of traditional AC units. Interacting with the DREO is a highly futuristic experience. The control panel is beautifully integrated into the top surface, and it features incredibly precise thermostat controls that allow you to dial in your exact comfort level. But where it truly shines is in the internal engineering. DREO designed this unit to maximize airflow efficiency, utilizing specialized air ducts that minimize internal friction. This means that the cold air shoots out of the front vent with incredible speed and volume, drastically reducing the amount of time it takes to cool down a stuffy room. During my intensive testing, the DREO AC318S was an absolute joy to use. I placed it in a massive master bedroom, and within 20 minutes, the entire space felt like a refrigerated sanctuary. The directional louvers automatically swing back and forth, painting the room with freezing cold air and completely eliminating any stagnant hot zones. The compressor engages smoothly without the violently loud clunk that you typically hear in cheaper units, ensuring that your environment remains peaceful while the temperature plummets. The most incredible aspect of the DREO AC318S is its astonishingly quiet operation. Whynter ARC-14S. This unit is heavily respected for one major reason: it utilizes a dual hose design. Aesthetically, it looks like a piece of serious industrial machinery, wrapped in a sleek platinum and black casing. It is undeniably large and incredibly heavy, but the moment you look at the dual exhaust ports on the back, you know this machine was built to achieve maximum cooling efficiency without any compromises. The dual hose setup completely changes the physics of how the room is cooled. Instead of sucking your beautifully conditioned indoor air out of the room to cool its internal compressor, the Whynter uses one hose to pull outside air in, cools the compressor, and uses the second hose to blast that hot air back out. This means it creates zero negative air pressure in your home. Your room cools down significantly faster, and it doesn't constantly pull hot air in from the hallway. Setting this up requires a bit more effort to arrange two hoses instead of one, but the payoff is absolutely massive. When I unleashed the Whynter ARC-14S in a sprawling, open-concept living room, it outputs an astonishing 14,000 BTUs of cooling power, easily overwhelming the brutal afternoon heat that was baking the space. The air that blasts from the front vents is practically freezing, and the blower is strong enough to circulate that chill deeply into adjacent hallways. Furthermore, it features an advanced activated carbon filter that actively scrubs the air of odors and impurities while it cools, making the entire room smell incredibly fresh and clean. 2. Midea Duo. For years, people have complained about the ugly, space-consuming nature of dual hose setups, so Midea engineered a brilliant solution: the hose-in-hose design. This unit features one single, extra-thick, flexible tube that contains both the intake and the exhaust pathways. The casing of the machine is tall, modern, and exceptionally clean, looking perfectly at home in a high-end contemporary apartment. Setting up the Midea Duo is an absolute revelation. You get the incredible rapid cooling efficiency of a dual hose system without the tangled mess of managing two separate pipes. The window kint or vent attachment clicks into place effortlessly, and the entire unit can be pushed much closer to the wall than traditional portable ACs. Furthermore, the Midea Duo is equipped with cutting-edge smart features, allowing you to connect it directly to your home Wi-Fi. You can control the exact temperature, set schedules, and monitor energy usage straight from a beautifully designed app on your smartphone. Performance-wise, the Midea Duo is an absolute powerhouse, equipped with highly advanced inverter technology. Unlike standard compressors that constantly turn on and off at full blast, the inverter compressor scales its power up and down smoothly to maintain your exact target temperature. This results in highly consistent, stable cooling without any annoying temperature fluctuations. It rapidly dropped the temperature in my testing space and held it perfectly steady, creating an environment that felt exactly like a home with expensive central air conditioning. The inverter technology also makes the Midea Duo incredibly energy efficient and shockingly quiet. 1. SereneLife Portable. After testing dozens of units, the SereneLife emerged as the ultimate champion by offering the absolute best balance of price, raw cooling power, ease of use, and overall reliability. It features a wonderfully clean, highly versatile design that looks great in a bedroom, living room, or home office. It is incredibly well constructed, feeling highly durable without being excessively heavy or difficult to move around the house. The setup process for the SereneLife is brilliantly user-friendly. It comes out of the box practically ready to go with a highly flexible exhaust hose and a universal venting kit that adapts perfectly to whatever non-traditional setup you might be working with. The control panel is instantly understandable, and the included remote control is highly responsive from all the way across the room. It doesn't require any complex app setups or tedious water tank maintenance. You simply plug it in, route the exhaust, and instantly enjoy the freezing cold air. When it comes to raw cooling performance, the SereneLife is remarkably consistent and highly aggressive. It completely conquered every room I placed it in, dropping temperatures rapidly and maintaining that chill flawlessly for hours on end. The blower is exceptionally strong, pushing a massive volume of conditioned air that easily cuts through dense humid heat. It also features a phenomenal built-in dehumidifier that strips moisture from the air at a staggering rate, making the room feel incredibly crisp and comfortable even during the worst summer rainstorms.